What is up? I'm Jared Welch. Aaron Halterman. Welcome to Blinkers Off. What's up, dude?
What's up, man? Yeah, it's the last blinkers off from your basement there for you, so that's good news. But yeah, we're back. We're ready. It's a big show. We have a ton of stakes from a ton of different tracks to go over today.
I know, and we very rarely miss a Thursday. But I had my house was closing yesterday, and you were busy, and before you know it, it was 10 o'clock. We're like, let's just push this to tomorrow. We have more energy, and we have racing tonight. We have at Prairie Meadows, the Iowa Festival starts. So we're like, hey, let's just do it in the morning. We'll get it out there, and so we have 10 races in total to talk about today, and some that are running tonight at Prairie Meadows. So yeah, it's a huge show.
Yep, big time show. Prairie Meadows put together a fantastic card.
I don't know how they did it, man. I don't know what's going on, who they had to pay, or who's paying who here, but it's like, how the hell did this happen?
I don't know. It's a great. All 6 races of the Iowa Festival racing are great. Like I said, it kicks off tonight. You got Nick's Go running tonight. The Iowa Derby and Iowa Oaks, both very competitive. They did a great job. So this is a big time, 2 days at Prairie Meadows, especially tonight. I think slotting these races at night, they're kind of the big game in town, at least for a night or two. So I think that was the right move, and it's going to be fun up there tonight. There's a lot of competitive races, and it's going to be good to bet on.
Yeah, you got Prairie Meadows, of course, Gulfstream Park. Being a holiday weekend, you got racing all weekend long. Gulfstream has the Smile Sprint, the Princess Rooney, of course, is Breeders' Cup race. You've got, of course, Suburban at Belmont Park. You've got John A. Nerud. It's a Breeders' Cup Sprint challenge race. So, of course, you got the Prairie Meadows Saturday night, and Los Al Derby. That's right, Bob Baffert. He can run somewhere, and he's running some horses at Los Al. They don't give a shit. Los Alamitos. He's got Defunded in there, so we'll talk a little bit about that race, and of course, what's coming up with those Bob Baffert horses. But before we get anything on the show, because we have a big show, what's the best thing you saw today?
It's got to be just the card at Prairie Meadows. Like I said, listen, the Iowa Festival of Racing used to be very good. Every year you could count on some pretty good horses going to Iowa, good betting races. You get to see 1 or 2 stars, but it had really kind of went down the last 2-3 years, especially. It just wasn't great. To have it back and have it as a really meaningful situation where the 6 races that make up the 2-night festival are all pretty good. That's just good to see. There's been some really nice horses come out of that in the past. Hasn't been for a while. But I'm just glad that we've got some decent ones to talk about this time.
Yeah, it definitely felt like, obviously you watched, you watch it all the time. But for me, and a lot of people that watch it when it's got good racing and whatnot, it just felt like it was definitely going south. This is just, because like you say, when we got into the game, it felt like there's always some good horses running on the Iowa Festival, good horses coming in. And it just felt like it just every year got worse and worse to a point where you're like, you don't even care. Whereas this year, it's like kind of out of nowhere too. There was no talk, there was no chatter about, they're going to do this, or they're really bringing in this, or they're up in the whatever. Like there was nothing. It just was like, oh, Nick's Go's going to be there. Oh, these Oaks horses are going to be there. Like it's crazy. It's unbelievable, really, that they were able to do this, and like legit horses, like Frank's Rocket is like a legit good horse. So you might see in a long time. Of course, I always think of Fort Larned, who went on to win the Breeders' Cup Classic, but you might have some horses in here that that maybe not like world beaters. Nick's Go, if he can rebound. I mean, obviously he's a Breeders' Cup Classic type of horse. If he's who the hell knows what he is, right? At this point, after this, last couple performances, but if he obviously is a Pegasus winner. But yeah, my point is you might have some horses that show up at the Breeders' Cup that ran at Prairie Meadows.
Who would have ever thought, right? But it's going to happen. I think you'll have multiple ones. And like I said, Nick's Go will be the fun one to kind of watch tonight. So it's like I said, they provide you, hey, if I need to single in this race, they provide a logical option. But if I want to spread, I have ways to beat the favorite, which is something Churchill Downs couldn't say about their 2 big stakes races last week. There was nobody to beat those 2 big horses. We're here. there's a few horses you can play and logically make a case for to go against the heavy favorites. So as far as a race card goes, that's what that's what you want. And so that's we'll just kind of go through them and see where we took our stands with favorites or where we tried to beat them.
Yep. We'll get in obviously to a lot of those races, especially in Knicks Go here in a little bit on rapid fire. I had a tie. I couldn't decide between my best thing, so I went with obviously we'll first I'll give you my best thing, and then I want to talk a little bit about my 1A, which is Maxfield, of course, last weekend. Mm-hmm. I've got to say it has to be did you see the response from Naira on the Baffert stuff? Did you see that come out?
No.
Because basically, Baffert's, his lawsuit or whatever against Churchill, Naira about banning him. And I loved it. It was Naira came out with saying like, listen, and I'll read the direct quote. This is from DRF. Matt Haggerty put this on and go to the website to read the whole article. But basically the actual response was the public interest and balance of equities weigh clearly in favor of Naira. Naira is obliged to protect its investment brand and reputation and supervise activities at its racetracks in a manner that fosters the public's confidence in the safety and honesty of the sport. We will respond through our legal filings. So I just love the fact that it's like, no, you're not going to threaten us with this bullshit lawsuit. Like, we have a responsibility to make sure that everyone's okay with what we're putting out there, and you're not. And I just thought, we're so used to, and Baffert's so used to, people bowing down to him. And now it's like, no, actually we're not.
He's learning a lesson that these bigger brands, there's no one person as big as the brand. And Naira is that, and Churchill Downs incorporated with the Kentucky Derby, kind of wrapped into one. Nobody's bigger than that entity, right? Like, so there's nothing. You want to sue Naira? Guess what? They're bigger than you. They're stronger than you. They're more powerful than you. And they're not going to put up with you. And I think that's the big thing. And they don't have to, Belmont Park, Saratoga, Hackwaduck, we'll throw them in there. They don't need Bob Baffert. And neither does Churchill Downs for that matter, because you know what? Bob Baffert, they're going to get 20 horses in the Kentucky Derby. They don't need Baffert, So I think they were able to take a stand financially because they knew it wouldn't affect them really. And they did it. And so both of them need to be patted on the back. That's what has to happen.
Yeah. So I just appreciated that brand or that comment about kind of the brand of Naira. And I think, like you said, it only takes one to start to kind of have that movement where it's like, okay, well, Naira did it. And like Churchill did it first, obviously. And then Naira did it. And it's like, okay, well, we can do it too. And we can do it too. You know what I mean? It's because you start to have this confidence, like, no, we're all willing to step up now. And hopefully that's, this is something that continues. Because I don't know about you, but you kind of expect at some point, you're like, well, everyone's just going to put this away, like we're just going to sidestep this. And at this point, Mandaloon still isn't the winner. It's still Medina Spirit of the Kentucky Derby. So it just kind of feels like we are just sort of sliding away. So I love that response. So the other one, obviously, last weekend was great racing at Churchill Downs. And we had two huge performances with Maxfield and Latruska, who both stepped up and won the Breeders' Cup Challenge races and did so kind of how you expected them based off of their odds. And they're both in the Distaff and the Classic. Latruska, we'll talk about her real quickly first, because it sounds like we might maybe we'll see her in the Classic at some point, because they act like they're looking for Horse of the Year.
That was interesting afterwards, and she definitely looked like a horse that could take on the boys. I don't know when or where that would be or what kind of race, but she looked like a monster in this race. I mean, I'm talking physically. She just looked like a beast out there. Obviously, you learn nothing from this race, but they go and they pick up another big-time win without her getting out of first gear, and that's always great. So she was fantastic. I don't know about the boys. I'm just not one that's just like crazy about them trying it. But she obviously can compete with, I would say, 90 to 95% of what we have in that division. So, she's just turned into a monster.
It's unbelievable. I think I keep mentioning it with her every time she wins. It's like just what she started at, which was kind of like this cool little niche horse, that came from overseas, and now it's like, wow, this horse is really running well. And yeah, she just beat the hell out of him. I mean, it was like, we kind of commented when we were watching it live, because it's like he had no interest in moving her over on the start. She just kind of ran down the center of the track, and just kind of was in a race on her own. And then fast forward later in the card to Maxville, and gosh, I mean, this guy just continues to be, what we kind of, or at least what the expectations were early on. Wins again, still to this day, though. His only loss is that day in the big cap. So, what do you make of him after that race? And I asked you on the pod, is there anything that could change your mind in terms of how he runs this race, moving forward? Like, is he a classic contender for you now?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he is more of so now than he was, for sure, because he won very easily. He made a big move. Everything was positive. I mean, the horse was fantastic. You still exit that race and you go, I don't know quite how good he is still. I mean, I can't really describe to you how bad those other horses were in the race. This was not a good race. So yes, I think he was super visually impressive. He won like a horse that has more in the tank, and he's going to need it. We know that. But we still are just not going to know just how high the talent level is on him until he faces somebody with a pulse. he just never has. But you can't take anything away from him. I mean, he was fantastic in this race. He did what he's supposed to do, and he does what he's supposed to do almost every time, and that's all you can ask of him.
Well, it's like you and I had talked about Latruska. It's like, yeah, we were idiots because we were kind of slow on, she beats, like, she beats Bottom White Girl. She comes back and beats her, and you still aren't sold on her, so to speak. And with Maxville, she's obviously proven, like, who else does she need to beat? She beat Bottom White. Right. She's beaten the hell out of the last two. So it's like, she's kind of got that. But it's like with Maxville, you're still kind of, like you're saying, like, it's one of those instances where, yeah, he's doing it all very easily, but he hasn't faced anything. And you would think he's dominating these races, but you still don't know until, like we talked about after the race, like what happens when he needs to, let's just pretend it's a classic. He needs to get to Hot Rod, and he's got Essential Quality right on his outside or whatever. They're both going. You've got some legit horses that you've got to catch/run with. It's just, that's a whole different ball game. So you're going to want to test, right? Like, I think Saratoga is where we're going to find out, what he's made of, how many stones he's got, if he's good enough to compete with this level. Yeah. And then from there, I think you can make a better decision. But right now, it's like, to me, it's like, I might play against him next time out. I'm not for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see where they spot him. They've done a good job spotting him up to this point. I think they will again. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. He's exciting though. He always.
He's a monster.
He is. He's kind of just becoming. I don't know. Like he's becoming that one. It's like, I think he is, the way he's winning these races, especially the last two. I think he may be more so now than ever. I'm like, I think he is like just really, really good.
It's good to be Godolphin right now. I mean, we got Mystic Guide we're going to talk about here in a little bit with the Suburban. Of course, you Maxville, and of course, Essential Quality. I mean, for three legit, really three, not only three legit horses that could win the Classic, three legit horses that could win the Horse of the Year honors as well. Yeah. So, I mean, not shocking at all for any of those three to win. So, yeah, it's good. Godolphin, I think they've got it figured out over there. All right, let's get to it. Today's show, we previewed the 400K Suburban Stakes at Belmont Park, a Breeders' Cup Winning Your In Challenge Series event for the Longines Classic. And then we're going to get some rapid fire selections. Big rapid fire for the remaining stakes action this weekend at Belmont Park, Gulfstream Park, Los Al. Yes, that's right, Los Al. And, of course, Prairie Meadows. Let's go. All right. Yeah, this racing is awesome this weekend. Tons of it. If you get bored, just wait a second and there'll be another race to watch.
It's crazy. It is absolutely crazy this weekend. You're going to have to remember to watch certain tracks you don't usually watch. Is probably not for me, but for most people.
Yeah, you'll have it. It won't be a problem for you, but
No.
others, you kind of have to like make sure, which is always a challenge sometimes when you have these smaller tracks to make sure that, they're going to show them or,
Yeah.
whatever feed you're watching. But yeah. All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, let's go Saturday at Belmont Park, race 10, Suburban Stakes, grade 2, with $400K for 4-year-olds and up, going a mile and a quarter. This is a Breeders' Cup win in your event for the Breeders' Cup Classic. Small field of 6, but it's a good field in terms of, again, we talked about last weekend with Maxville. Got a few in here with legit, classic potential, classic winning potential. Number 1, Mystic Guide. Maxville Stablemate is your even money morning line favorite. 6-5 on Happy Saver to the outside. The 6th horse for Todd Pletcher, unbeaten Happy Saver. Mm-hmm. And really, that's it. I mean, Moretti, informative, prioritize, and then, of course, Max Player. You key that horse in 3rd right now. But what do you think of this field, and what do you think of the, because to me, it's a 2-horse race. You got to decide who's going to win.
Yeah, I mean, it is a 2-horse race. And what I think of the field, it's very not good at all, except for 2 horses that I think are elite. And I think it's the morning line's correct. I think one's 6-5, one's even money, and it's just going to be who can beat who. This is actually a rematch from the Jockey Club Gold Cup last year, where Happy Saver did beat Mystic Guide. The big difference is Mystic Guide has come back to look like a monster this year. Kicked off the season with an impressive win at Oakland Park and the Razorback, and then dominated in the Dubai World Cup. To me, it all comes down to the Dubai bounce. Will Mystic Guide show up and not be ready to run quite as well? And then Happy Saver can kind of take advantage of that. But I think if Mystic Guide's on his best, he's going to win. So I put him on top. I don't really think they would enter him in a race like this if they didn't think he was doing really well. I just think he's a little better than Happy Saver this year, and I think he'll get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret that it seems like it's between these 2 horses. I went back and forth, to be honest with you. It depends for me. It'd be interesting to see how these horses are bet, and I imagine Mystic Guide will stay the favorite. But the bottom line for me was like, okay, Happy Saver has never lost. Happy Saver, is 1-0 against Mystic Guide. We know can run at this distance. We know likes Belmont Park. It has a little bit of a freshener advantage here. Ran in the end of May, whereas we haven't seen Mystic Guide since Dubai, like you mentioned. You kind of have, it's like if you're gonna beat him, maybe this is the time you beat him whenever Mystic Guide is coming off that Dubai bounce. So for me, I went with Happy Saver. I'm kind of in the same boat. I don't know that Pletcher would have entered this horse here if he didn't think the horse was going to be ready to go. And obviously, is you look at who this horse, what this horse has done since debut, and it's just like very, very consistent. Obviously winning, but just does it really professional. Like looks like that kind of horse that you would want, going up against a horse like Mystic Guide. So for me, you go either way. Obviously, if I'm playing multis, I'm playing both of them, and I think you move on. I do think both these horses are legit good enough to win. Obviously, the Classic good enough to be. Happy Saver. We just don't know how good Happy Saver is.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the big question mark. I think Happy Saver is kind of a Maxfield in a way where it's like, yeah, he's winning races. He's done it pretty impressively. But this is like his first like real test. And yes, I know he beat Mystic Guide last year, but that horse is not the same as what he is right now. He's gotten better, and Happy Saver could have gotten just as much better, and we're going to find out here. So to that point, can Mystic Guide win running his B race? I don't think so. I think does he need like his A+? Maybe not. But he's going to have to show up and run better than a B race. I think a B race gets him beat here. And I think that's probably why you picked Happy Saver, right?
Yep, exactly. And the other thing is, I thought it was interesting. I don't like Moretti in this race. It makes sense because the horse like runs, this kind of distance. But I wonder if you can, because there's no pace in the race, right? Like there's really none, especially for a small field. I wonder if Moretti is going to be sent drawing that one hole, has shown speed early on in previous races. Maybe he sends for Pletcher to secure that pace and let the Happy Saver kind of, sit off. I don't see Happy Saver going to the lead, and I don't really necessarily see Mystic Guide going to the lead either. So it kind of feels like they're kind of trying to set this race up for Happy Saver in terms of entering Moretti.
Yeah, I thought Moretti was very interesting, to pop up here. The only thing, I think it's either what you said, or it's a 6-horse field. It's a grade 2 race. This horse is not bad. He's probably better than the rest of the other ones. I mean, he can get third real easy. And if one of these big favorites don't run well, and then all of a sudden he's second, I mean, that's pretty good. That's probably better than he could do, entering him anywhere else. So,
yeah,
he's not a horrible alternative. I don't think he can beat him, but you kind of know what you're going to get from Moretti. Second off the layoff today as well, so he could improve. Flavian Pratt gets aboard. I think that's good as well. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think they'll send this horse and see how far that he can take him. The
one big thing that you have to at least have in the back, at least I do, for Happy Saver is that we don't, you have the Lasix, first off. So we don't know necessarily if that's going to have an impact or not. Of course, when this horse ran in the stakes race last year, that was the Lasix rule wasn't in effect. So, now no Lasix. We've seen Mystic Guide run without Lasix. So you can kind of know, obviously we know what Mr. Moretti will do, at least how he ran last time in the Brooklyn without Lasix. So I guess that's kind of the other thing. How is Happy Saver going to handle that? Probably okay. Yeah, I mean, to me, I'm at the point with the Lasix stuff where it's like I just have to assume, right, it's going to be fine. You can't really predict that, right? No. So you kind of just have to assume that it's going to be fine. But to me, it's either way. And honestly, I asked you this question last week with Maxville, and you said kind of you're kind of stuck by it. You're still kind of wait and see. He did what you kind of thought he was going to do, but we need to see him face more. Obviously, Mystic Guide has proved a ton, and Happy Saver has proved some, but has more to prove. Like, what are you taking out of this race, depending on who wins?
Well, I mean, if Mystic Guide keeps running like he has been and wins this one easy, he's the number one horse. I mean, he's number one right now in that handicap division for me anyway. He could just, kind of reaffirm that. But Happy Saver, obviously, with a win here, jumps into the fray big time. All of a sudden, Happy Saver is right there with a Mystic Guide, with Maxfield, with Essential Quality, Hot Rod Charlie, things like that, and in the mix for the Classic. So it's a big time race. These two have something to gain here. Where Maxfield, last week, he kind of just had everything to lose, and then if he won, then he wasn't going to get a ton of credit anyway. If Happy Saver knocks off the Dubai World Cup winner, that's how you get credit, And if Mystic Guide makes it 3 in a row after already proving he's pretty good this year, I mean, that's how you get credit. So it's a big race. You might say it's 6 horses. It sucks. I hate it. I don't know why we can't get more horses. But as far as these two, I mean, they're really, really good.
Yeah. I mean, I think if Happy Saver goes and wins and beats him again, it's just you have to Happy Saver has to be. I mean, he's the top, one of if not the top, one of the top contenders because he's knocked off the top horse twice. So. And considering who is trained by, you got to think that horse has got some very untapped and very real, expectations moving forward. Because, geez, I mean, if he does it twice, 2 of the last 3 efforts, and you happen to beat, Mystic Guide both times. I mean, I think that's nothing you can. It's at the distance that the Classic's going to be ran at. It's huge. So I'm with you. I don't necessarily think even if Happy Saver loses, it's like, well, I mean, he's still an okay horse. Assuming he finishes second and runs a good race, it's just like, well, Mystic Guide is just a beast. I think there's more to gain by both these horses. I don't know. For me, I'm on the wait and see approach with the Dubai. I think if there's an opportunity here to beat Mystic Guide, I'm going to try, but I'm going to use both of them in my multis. Happy Saver for me. I mean, I almost that's how close it is for me. Like I almost changed it to Mystic Guide. I had a Mystic Guide at first, and then I went to handicapped it. I switched it to Happy Saver. I almost switched it back to Mystic Guide while we were talking. Like that's how close to me. I feel like this race could go. So
yeah, oh yeah, it's going to be good. I don't know. It's the Dubai Bounce, and is it a thing for Mystic Guide? That's what the race is about.
Yeah, I mean, if he runs the way he's ran those last two efforts, then it's a different. It's not going to matter.
Yeah, no, no, it is not.
Man, Snowhouse scratched.
Yes, Snowhouse, Bourbon Thunder, and Proxy officially out now. Sucked. I had Snowhouse on top.
I didn't, but I mean, definitely could see using them.
Yeah, not good. Really makes me mad.
I keep checking, like, because like last night I was looking, I was like, oh, is Nick's good? He's like, yeah, well, he's there, so he's gonna run. Yeah. I just couldn't believe it.
Yep.
Still can't believe it.
It's crazy.
All right. So yeah, we're gonna do Prairie Meadows Friday tonight. Gulfstream tomorrow, Prairie tomorrow, and then Belmont and Low South Sunday. So got a lot going here. So buckle up, and again, always ask your questions if you are tuning in live. Ask questions while we're doing this, and we'll try to answer them for you. You're gonna love who's sponsoring Rapid Fire. I'll wait to put it on. I'll wait to put it on the screen though, for you, so you can be surprised. All right. 3, 2, 1. Time for Rapid Fire, presented by Ete Indian. The legend returns. That's right. If you're like, who the hell is that horse? Ete Indian is how a lot of people pronounce it, but I think it's Ete Indian. Not seen since last running fourth at Gulfstream Park on June 10th, 2020. Of course, this was your Fountain of Youth winner back in the Triple Crown Trail last year. Ete Indian returns Sunday in race 9 at Gulfstream Park. The Bob Apufri Turf Sprint Stakes. 5 furlongs on the turf for this horse. So 5 furlong turf sprint. This horse comes back. I saw it on the come pop up on the entries. It's like, holy shit, this horse is alive.
Couldn't believe it. Yeah,
that's my boy, man. That horse saved me from last place last year. I guess it was him and Maxville, really. But when he won that, I was like, okay, I'm safe. But yeah, he was like, and he was respectable in the Florida Derby, finished third to Tiz the Law, and you're like, all right. And then he just, of course, injuries and sucked, and then he's fast horse, so maybe on the turf, obviously Bianconi is a good turf sprinter or turf trainer, so we'll see. But yeah, I will definitely, for personal reasons only, will definitely be watching that race very closely. I cannot wait.
Yeah, he won on debut going 5 furlongs on the turf, so we'll see. I mean, it's been a long time since we've seen him 5 furlongs on the turf, so we'll see how he runs. But yeah, he has the one at the distance, so there's something.
All right, let's kick things off. Let's tonight. So if you're listening to this tonight, right now, tonight, Friday night, Iowa, Prairie Meadows. I wish we were there. It's the Iowa Festival of Racing. The Iowa Derby kicks things off, race 6. This is we're $250K for 3-year-olds, going to 1/16 miles. Proxy, the one horse, Bourbon Thunder, and Snowhouse, which I know you're bummed about. All have scratched from the race. You have Nova Rags to the outside, Super Stock. Your Arkansas Derby winner, that's right. The Arkansas Derby winner, Super Stock, will probably be the favorite of this race at post time. So what do you think?
Yeah, I like Snowhouse a lot. That's who I was going to pick. Unfortunately, scratch. I'm going to go with number 9, Nova Rags now. I really hate Super Stock. I'm not going to pick Super Stock to win. I mean, if you want to use him defensively, that's okay. But a really, really weak winner of the Arkansas Derby, one of the weakest, I say the weakest Arkansas Derby I've ever seen, and did no running in the Kentucky Derby and then sucked last time out in this prestigious Texas Derby. So now from Texas to Iowa, to the Iowa Derby, I think Super Stock, I think you got to beat this horse. I went Nova Rags. Nova Rags, I think from a class standpoint, I'll take him over Super Stock even, because the horse has been in big races, usually runs well, pretty consistent. Promise Keeper lost to him 2 starts back. Promise Keeper came back to run pretty decent in the Ohio Derby. Junior Alvarado is coming in to ride for Belmont. Belmont's brought a lot of horses here for these 2 days. I like Nova Rags. I'm going to take a shot with Nova Rags.
Yeah, that was my pick even before the scratch. So it's unfortunate because now you're not going to get 5-1 on Nova Rags, but I was hoping to get somewhere in that ballpark. But yeah, I mean, he's just a very honest horse. He's not great. He's not bad. Finished third in Woody Stevens, of course, way back from Drain the Clock, but third to Jackie's Warrior and Drain the Clock. He finished second to Promise Keeper, like you mentioned. Florida Derby, he, known agenda, Soup and Sandwich, Greatest Honor. That's not much to write home about. Stephen F. Davis, it's like he just kind of runs his race. Of course, he won the Pasco. I thought he was really good in the Peter Pan. He just not good enough. But there's no Promise Keeper in this race. Like if Promise Keeper's in this race, he's a favorite, no doubt. So this distance, obviously, that was the same distance. You're running at mile 8 that day. Mile 16th today, which he's finished second in the in Stan F. Davis. So I mean, to me, he wants longer than 7 furlongs that he got last time out. And just from a class angle, he's the class of the race. So I don't love him. I just felt like he was the best horse in the race of a very weak Iowa Derby. But this is the kind of race that you see a horse like Nova Rags, like it was like, okay, can't win the Woody Stevens. The Peter Pan was a pretty decent race this year. The Florida Derby obviously can't. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's the Iowa Derby that this horse can finally get through. So feels like he's the best of what's left, right?
I think he is. I mean, I'm going to take him over Super Stock. I think Gagetown for Brad Cox. That's another one I would kind of look at as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's interesting. I would go deep in this race. I just Super Stock's not reliable, and Nova Rags really isn't either. So if you can find somebody else to jump up and run a big race, they definitely can be beat.
But you love the fact that, of course, there's a lot of jockeys here for these 2 days.
Oh, yeah.
But you love the fact that Junior's on the horse, he's ridden the guy the last 3 starts, so this will be his 4th. So you love that. So, yeah, you and I are both on number 9, Nova Rags. Let's go to the next race, which is race 7. And that, of course, is the Iowa Oaks, grade 3. We're $225K for fillies, 3-year-olds, going 1 1/16 miles. Field of 7 lines up for this one. 2-1 on Pauline's Pearl, 5-2 on Army Wife, 5-1 on The Grass is Blue. Olivia of the Desert at 6-1, Windmill at 8-1. To me, it came down to Pauline's Pearl and Army Wife. Were you between those two as well?
Absolutely. I think it's a 2-horse race between those two. I put Army Wife on top. I think Army Wife, the race last time out in the Black Eyed Susan, I think she kind of showed that she's got another gear to her where I don't know if we've seen that from Pauline's Pearl. Good horse for sure, but I don't know if we've seen just that next step like Army Wife took in the Black Eyed Susan. I think it's a really logical spot for Army Wife to show up in. I think she gets it done here. I really hope we get somewhere close to 5-2. I think that's pretty good value on that horse. Yeah.
This one was tough for me. I ended up going with Pauline's Pearl. The Oaks was awful, non-effort, really. But really, the races leading up to that, she was really damn good. I mean, not great. I mean, she was what she was. Of course, winning the Fantasy, finished second, the Honeybee, won her main special weight. She was like evolving, and obviously Stone Street with Asmussen and a Tappet horse, like she's got expectations, obviously. So I think if she can bring that Fantasy race here, the race prior to the Oaks, like to me, she's the best horse in the race. It's just a matter of who we're going to see here. When she was very consistent at Fairgrounds and Oaklawn, and then we got to Churchill, and it was just, like I said, awful. But you got to assume she can rebound here. Likes this distance, obviously, and you get Santana in, and again, that's the nice thing about these days. You've got a lot of the jockeys that are following the horses. So at Steve Asmussen and Santana at Prairie Meadows, they're very good at Prairie Meadows when they team up. So I like number 2, Pauline's Pearl. All right. Next up, let's go to race 8, the Prairie Meadows tonight. Cornhusker handicap grade 3 with $300K for 3-year-olds and upward, going 1 1/8 miles. And yes, you are about to hear this correctly. Number 5, Knicks Go is your even money morning line favorite. Runs tonight at Prairie Meadows. Let's say it one more time. Knicks Go, the Pegasus World Cup champion. Knicks Go. The same horse that just ran in the Met Mile is running here at Prairie Meadows tonight. Knicks Go. Where did you end up going with this race? Like, are you on it's Knicks Go? I don't care that he was bad last time. It's Knicks Go. He's at Prairie Meadows. I'm picking him. Or you're like, there's an issue here. I'm trying to beat him.
I can't imagine there being an issue with a Breeders' Cup winner and a Pegasus winner, and there's an issue with the horse, and they say, you know what? Even though he's got some issues, let's take him to Prairie Meadows and run him in the Cornhusker handicap. Like, I kind of started to look at it because I know immediately when people see horses like this show up in a track like this, they go, oh, he must be in bad shape. I don't look at it that way with him. Because why would you mess with sending him up here if you didn't think he was going to win? There's no reason to go try to win the Cornhusker. I think they just sent him up here and they thought, okay, we're going to get an easy win with him. We're going to get him back on track confidence-wise. He gets 2 turns again, and those 2 races were 1 turn. And for whatever reason, he didn't run well in either one of them. So maybe the 2 turns will help. I couldn't go against him. I put Knicks Go in front. I would not blame anybody if you try to beat him. But he's simply more talented than the rest of these horses. And again, I'll just go with the logic of if they're sending this horse to Iowa and they're serious about it, and the horse showed up like 3 days before the race, like they think he's still a good horse and they think he's going to win this one.
Yeah, I set that up, but I definitely am on the ball, like on the side of saying, okay, he's here. I think this is like this horse needs a win, and it's an easy field, $300,000 race. It's like, why not take him here? He's doing great. Take him here and try to win a grade 3, $300K race. Like, and what's funny is it's starting to come true in a way, like, like you and I, of course, we know people and you talk to people and it's like, yeah, like he thinks he's going to win the Met Mile, obviously, but he's a little worried about, Brad Cox. He's a little worried about the turns, like, the 1 turn, like he thinks he's more of a 2-turn horse. And you're kind of like, really? Like, I mean, sure. Like he seems like he's a fast sprinter and he's going to, the 1 turn be fine. Well, like you said, the Saudi Cup and the Met Mile being 1-turn races, even though the Saudi Cup was longer, it's like, okay, maybe this horse is better around 2 turns. Like he thrives in the turns. So whatever the reason is, he's back to 2 turns. He's obviously this is kind of his bread and butter here. I just think he kind of runs these horses to the ground. And I don't necessarily think Brad Cox, like you said, is going to, 1, send him here if he's not doing well. 2, make sure Rosario's on him again. Why wait? If you obviously think there's got to be bigger goals, right, than Prairie Meadows. So if there's an issue, you're not going to mess with a race here and further messing up, hurting the horse and put him out of the whole year. So to me, I think this is an easy single.
Should, but we'll see. I mean, he was god awful in the Met Mile, so he will have to rebound from that. That is a fact.
Is this a case where, like you mentioned earlier with Maxville, where he has he kind of had a lot to lose and not much to gain by winning the Stephen Foster? I mean, this is very much that, right? For Knicks Go.
If he loses here, it's over. Like, he's done.
Yeah, the ride's up, right?
I guess he has everything to lose. I would say with him, if he goes out and wins by like 5 or 6, he kind of gains back okay, maybe he's still a player in this thing. So he does have something to gain here, but he has a lot to. If he loses this, they will retire him. At least they need to.
Yeah, because he's lost 2. That'd be 3 straight losses. And if you go to Prairie, I mean, if you lose Saudi, that's one thing. You lose the Met Mile. Well, it wasn't great, but it's still the Met Mile. You go send the horse to Prairie Meadows in the Cornhusker, and you can't win that against Rated R Superstar and Modernists. And, I mean, Tenfold, Last Judgment. Like, if you can't beat these horses and your Knicks Go, then yeah, you need to go. It needs to be over. The jig is up, dude. Like it's time to retire. So you and I are both on Knicks Go. We'll see what happens tonight at Prairie Meadows. All right, let's go to Saturday. Yeah, that's must see TV there. I cannot wait to see that race is at 9:12 Central Time. So
Yeah.
what better than watching Knicks go into the bright lights at Prairie Meadows? I mean, what more could you want in life than to see that, right?
I can't even imagine you saying that sentence to me right after he won the Pegasus World Cup. I mean, I can't even imagine what I would have said.
You would have said, at least in your mind, you would have thought, oh my God, like what happened since this day? You know, like what transpired to get this horse to Prairie Meadows?
And I can't, even though the scenario that how it transpired really isn't like that.
You still wouldn't believe it.
But it's like, what an odd place for him to run. It's so weird.
Well, you wouldn't have, we were right there obviously watching the Met Mile live, and you wouldn't have looked over at me or me look at you and say, you know what I think that horse needs? That horse needs to go to the Cornhusker next. I think that would be a really fitting race for him. You'd be like, what's wrong with you?
I was sitting right in the chair I'm in right now, and I swear to God, I fell out of it when I read that. Because Prairie Meadows tweeted it, like the Prairie Meadows Twitter account tweeted out, Knicks go expected for the Cornhusker, draw coming in however many minutes or whatever. I thought, and I even subtweeted, I was like, really? Come on. Like, what are you doing here? No, and like I said, and the whole time I'm thinking they'll scratch that horse. He's not coming to Iowa. And then they tweeted out 3 or 4 days ago, like a picture of him. He's there, and then they had a video of him. I guess this is really happening. So
yeah, I went as far. I'm the same way. Last night I was handicapping the race, and I thought before I even get into this, I'm making sure this horse is actually on the grounds. And so I did a little research, and was like, well, I'll be damned. He's been there for a little bit, so he's gonna run. So
yeah. Well, good on him. I hope he wins.
Yeah, I mean, for the game, I mean, I think it's fun to if he does, romp and wins, and it's a mile and eighth race, and it's like, okay, well, maybe it's one more player that we can talk about. Yeah. It'd be amazing to get that horse in the Classic, and you got all kinds of speed with Hot Rod, and obviously the Classic division's shaping up to be really, really strong. So it'd be cool to have him in there.
Yep, it would. It would. He adds intrigue to wherever he goes. So, we'll see what happens with him.
He's never ran a mile and a quarter. That's the only thing. You don't know what he is past mile and eighth, really. But it seems like when he's ran a mile and eighth races, it seems like he could keep going, right? So,
seems like it in the Pegasus. Yeah.
But yet he runs a mile in the Met Mile and he can't finish a race. So, I mean, he's a weird horse.
He has become an enigma, no question.
All right, let's go to Gulfstream Park on Saturday. 3, 2, 1. Let's move it along to Saturday, July 3rd, Gulfstream Park. We had 2 races to talk about at Gulfstream Park. Race 10, the Smile Sprint Invitational Stakes, Grade 3. We're $200K for 3-year-olds and up, going 6 furlongs, field of 8. Lined up for this one, 5-2 on Diamond Oops, the old turf/dirt horse. 92 on Double Crown, 4-1 on Miles Ahead, 3-1 on Chance It. This one was tough for me because it's like Diamond Oops. I've always liked Diamond Oops a little bit, but I don't know. I don't know how well you can trust him here.
Yeah, I did not put Diamond Oops on top. I do think that's a horse you have to use. He's logical here. I actually went number 1, Frosted Grace, on top in this spot. Frosted Grace has been close several times, and he's also been pretty good at Gulfstream Park. You look at the race 2 races back, almost won in a 100K stakes race. This was defeated narrowly by Basin. 3 races back was second to Mischievous Alex. I think now you've caught a field that he can upset. And I think 6-1 is the right price. Like I said, Diamond Oops, I have a lot of respect for that horse, but I think he's kind of beatable here as far as the win end. I didn't really love his race last time out. I know it was kind of just a prep for this one. He wasn't all out. But I kind of think Frosted Grace is in form and can pull off the upset here at 6-1.
Yeah, I mean, this one's difficult, to say the least. I think makes total sense. It's trying to pull an upset. I'm with you on Diamond Oops. even though it was visually okay, get floated right here. Horses ran in tougher races, has won tougher races, but just like you can't, I don't know, you just can't trust this horse very well for some reason. And it's like, I don't know if it's the flip flopping on surfaces for me. They can't really get a good idea of what he's going to run. He runs, some strong races. Like you look at the turf sprint to Churchill Downs on the turf. It's like, okay, he runs he flies late, and can't get there. And it's like, well, there's always he runs okay, then he runs great, then he runs really bad. And it's like, okay, I need to try to beat this horse. So I went with number 4, Chance It, strictly off of the Saffie Joseph Saez. I mean, you feel like this horse, off of the long layoff last time out, almost wins, gets beat by Double Crown, who's also in this race. Ran an 89 buyer on debut. First time we'd seen that horse since March 2020, and ran just in May earlier this year. So I got to think the horse is going to be very tough on the front end, or at least close to the front end for Saffie Joseph at Gulfstream Park. The horse, has run 7 starts at Gulfstream, 4 wins, 3 seconds. And at the distance, 2 starts, 1 win, 1 second. So it's right up the horse's alley. You got to think the horse is going to improve off the second off. So, and it helps when the horse is trained by Saffie Joseph and has 3 straight bullet work. So I got to think the horse is ready to fire. So I'm going to take number 4, Chance It.
Chance It.
This one I changed my pick a few times. All right, 3, 2, 1. Next race, Gulfstream Park, race 11, the Princess Rooney Invitational Stakes at Grade 2. We're $350K for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, going 7 furlongs. This is a Breeders' Cup winning event for the filly and mare sprint. It's a good one, too. Field of 8 lines up for this one. 5-2 on the 1 horse, Estilio Talienzo, 6-1 on This Is My Life, 4-1 on Pacific Gale, 3-1 on CC, 7-2 on Laura's Light. Sound Machine, as for Saffie, a horse that I looked at a little bit at 12, nice little price at 12-1. Where'd you go with this Breeders' Cup race?
Well, I think Laura's Light is the one to beat here. I like this horse, and I think we're going to get every bit of that 7-2 price because of CC, and obviously the favorite on the rails. So 6 Laura's Light. I was there live and in person when she made her dirt debut accidentally last time out, and then off the turf race. And she was fantastic. I would venture to say it was one of her better efforts, and she had been running pretty well on the turf. But I was impressed by that performance from Laura's Light. I think she turns around here and gets the job done. I really like her at this 7 furlongs distance too. So I think she's going to be tough in the spot.
Yeah, she was my pick. I definitely wanted to try to beat CC. Laura's Light at 7-2, that day. My issue with her, ultimately why I didn't pick Laura's Light, I initially was going to, is that we still don't know. Obviously, we don't know what she is on a fast surface. Obviously, it was sloppy that day. It was, you can vouch for that. It's very, very muddy. Mm-hmm. Obviously a turf horse by kind of her call in there than synthetics when she's not been on turf. So we really don't know what she is on the dirt fast track. All accounts, she should be very good. And you love that Flo is riding again. So she's definitely a play if you can play multiples in here. Laura's Light at 7-2 is a great value. I end up picking the 1 horse, Stilio Italian. So I just thought the way this horse has been running the last, Straddle races, especially since kind of upping the class, going to Madison, of course, the Derby City Distaff, and then the Bed of Roses, really has been really good. I mean, yeah, she got beat, in the Madison, but ran against a really good horse and ran a good second, and then 2 back, she's gets beat by Gamine. Wisconsin came back to win. And then, of course, she comes back to win the Bed of Roses. So that was obviously a very nice race. You got to like the fact that you get Castellano. I think the issue for me is she's got, I'm playing her, but I'm cautiously playing her. She's got 7 starts at this distance, 5 seconds. So you got to think she kind of likes to hang a little bit. So I'm using her on top. I will be keying her as well underneath, and I'm going to be using a few of these as well, because I think Laura's Light, you're going to kick yourself if she wins at 7-2 and you didn't play her. So I like Laura's Light, but I end up picking number 1, Estilio Talienzo, on top. All right, back to Prairie.
Here we go.
doing the Iowa Sprint, and there it is. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's go back to Prairie Meadows on Saturday. This time, race 8, the Iowa Sprint Stakes, worth 100K, going 6 furlongs. Field of 9 lines up here, 9-5 on special reserve for Mike Maker. We talked to some of the back class with some of these horses we've been talking about. Special reserve been in some of that. So he comes to Prairie Meadows now, and you got 7-2 on Mojo Man, Quick Tempos 12-1, 3-1 Empire of Gold. Mr. Jägermeister is at 8-1. Is special reserve the play here for you, or are you trying to beat him?
I'm gonna try to beat special reserve, and this may be pretty stupid because the horse has looked decent in the last 3 or 4 starts. I'm gonna go with a local horse, and you're really gonna laugh at this one. I'm gonna go with a 10-1 shot, number 3, Greeley and Bin. I'm gonna put this horse on top. Has won 4 straight races. The last 3 have come over this track. He also won a starter allowance race at Oaklawn Park. I get that this is a jump up. I really do. But once you get past special reserve, I don't really like a whole lot else in here. Carl Broberg, since he claimed this horse for $10,000, by the way, has won 5 out of 6 races with this horse. He doesn't just throw him in for no reason. Broberg has been hot at Prairie. He's hot everywhere. I kind of think this horse has got a shot to pull an upset. You look at this race, there's a ton of speed. And what does this horse like to do? Kind of just sit right off that speed and pounce. I think if they come back to him a little bit, I think this horse has got a big shot. So I went with a 10-1 shot, number 3, Greeley and Bin on top.
You know how crazy I think you are? I think you're so crazy that I picked the horse too. So how about that? That's the horse I picked.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. No, and that's pretty funny because I'm not, you're the Prairie guy for sure. And I just don't know. This race to me smelt like a local type of race where it's like, this horse has been really good. It's going to be like, he goes end zone athletics, Carl Broberg, like, you know what those guys are about. And so it's like 3 straight wins for the horse has been really good. And it's like special reserve, like, was really good last time out at Pimlico, but it's just like, do you really trust him? Like, other than that race, the horses ran just like good races, not great. And I mean, this horse, the local, like, totally could win here. So it's a 10-1. I'm hoping that you get a lot of that value because of having a horse like special reserve who, deservingly is the favorite, but can be beat. I think I love the idea of trying to beat this horse. Do you think we're going to get 10-1? I mean, you're the local guy. Do you think 10-1's doable?
No, I'd say about 5 or 6 though. Special reserve is probably going to be like 3-5 or 4-5. Mojo Man will take money. Empire Gold will take money. I think really Ben will be like the 4th or 5th choice, so like 6-1, right around in that range.
And to me, that's if you're talking 3-5 or 4-5 on special reserve, that's an auto play against. So then you just try to beat them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate special reserve really, but it's just a situation where you're right. If you don't run back to that last number, his numbers are the exact same as Greeley and Ben. And one's going to be 3-5 and one's going to be 6-7-1, we're thinking. So, I mean, I'm with you. I'm with you. Like, there's always a local that'll win one of these races, or maybe 2. I think this is one where there's a good shot that it could happen.
You're just biased because this horse beat Welder last time out. So
that's right.
The horse beat Welder last time out. He's got the back class right there. I mean, how much more do you need? He beat Welder.
That's right.
So that's all you really need. So yeah, me and Halterman are going to try to pull off an upset here with the local number 3, Greeley and Ben.
One interesting thing I'll point out about that, this horse was 2-5 to beat Welder. So not only did he win, like, they thought he would win.
Yeah.
And that's really something when you talk about Welders in an allowance at Prairie Meadows and there's a horse that's 2-5 in it,
Yeah, it tells you a lot about kind of what the word is of this horse, right?
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what he's actually bet at, because like if that's the case, I mean, like that's a good example, because I mean, obviously everyone knows Welder, and for this horse to still be pounded, I wonder how much local money is going to be bet on this horse.
And this is like, he's coming to the race for him like off a layoff. He runs every 2 weeks. Like between races, let's see,
It's fresh
13
then.
days, 8 days, 27, 14, 14, 14, and now 28. So it's a layoff for him.
That's amazing. All right. 3, 2, 1. Let's go to the next race. Race 9, Prairie Meadows Saturday night, Saylorville Stakes. Worth $100K for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, going 6 furlongs. It's a Breeders' Cup. No, it's not. But it could be a Breeders' Cup winner you're in for the filly mare sprint, right? Because you've got a horse in here, number 5, Frank's Rocket. Your 3 to 5 morning line favorite. That's right, Frank's Rocket. It's crazy. Belmont, Junior Alvarado into ride, of course. What do you think Junior's staying at in Prairie? Do you think he's got the Holiday Inn? What do you think? Across the street? What do you think?
Hopefully not the Econo Lodge across the street. It's pretty bad. But
these guys are like, what are we doing here? Fucking, like Altoona, Iowa. What do you got us doing here? But no, the purses are worth it, I guess. But yeah, Frank's Rocket. You think he can beat Saguaro Road? That's kind of the horse to beat there on the inside for Brad Cox.
Yeah, so I'll say this. I'll make it quick on Frank's Rocket. I'm not going against her. I think she's going to be too tough. And it's always two things. I want to be very clear on something. How good is the favorite is always number one. And in this case, she is pretty good, but she also has lost 2 in a row. So it's like, okay, she's not unbeatable. But then the next question is always, who else is in the race? And there just isn't anything in this race. That was the Maxville thing last week for me. Is Maxville beatable? Yeah, we saw him when he was in a good race. Santa Anita, he got beat. But then you go and go, okay, maybe I can try to beat him. And then you look and it's like, no, I have no shot. That's how I look at this with Frank Charquette. I mean, I just think she's a standout no matter how you look at it. Now, listen, if you serious note, if you are heading to Iowa, and I had somebody on Rocket Hour that was heading to Iowa earlier today, go to Jethro's to eat right across the street. It's a barbecue
100%.
spot. Yeah, it's great barbecue. They have a few other things too. Great drinks. Jethro's across the street from Prairie Meadows. That's where you need to eat. And then to stay,
Altoona water. That Altoona water, just
Altoona ice water. Yep, that's very good. No, or is it lake water? Altoona lake water.
Is that lake water?
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah,
I think it is lake water.
But anyway,
dude, the wings are legit. The nachos are amazing. Gosh, I would go to Iowa right now, just mostly for that, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Definitely eat at Jethro's. If you can stay at the casino, that's pretty nice as well. But anyway, Frank's Rocket for me. I don't think she can get beat.
Yeah, no, she's to me, she's easily the one to play here. And again, like she's definitely, I mean, she's shown like, I wouldn't say, maybe not superstar, but she's a Saratoga winner, greatest stakes winner, obviously ran the Breeders' Cup Sprint last year. Of course, wasn't good at all against the boys. But she's obviously a very, very talented horse. And you got to think Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Sprint is the logical spot where they're going to try to get this horse to. The fact that she shows up here, I look at this a lot, like you said, with Maxfield, and really kind of like Nick's Go a little bit too, where it's like, she's here. There's she's not, especially a guy like Belmont, he's not going to run this horse if if there's any inclinations that she's not doing well. There's no Wisconsin in here. There's no Edgeway in here. There's not anything close to those, to be honest. So I think she's going to be pretty damn easy to win here. So number 5, Frank's Rocket. Yeah, that was one that you looked at it real quick and you just thought, okay, that's a single. I'll move on.
Yeah. I mean, yes, she's lost the last couple, but it's just like there just isn't anybody that can beat her. These horses are not very good.
No,
I mean, I guess the Cox horse, first time with Brad. I mean, maybe there's your angle. That horse isn't that good.
No. I mean, I'll let that horse beat me. Oh, dang it. All right, let's do we got another Breeders' Cup race to talk about here. So,
of course. Now, this is another.
What was this race? This was like the Sprint Championship or something at one time.
Yeah, it used to be the Belmont Sprint Championship.
Yeah. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's go to Sunday, July 4th. Happy 4th of July to everybody. Sunday, July 4th, Belmont Park. We got another Breeders' Cup race to talk about. The John A. Nerude Stakes, grade 2, worth $250K for 4-year-olds and up, going 7 furlongs. And it is a Breeders' Cup winning in for the Breeders' Cup Sprint. All right, Halterman, you tell me. Field of 7 lines up for this one. Ferenc Fire, another short price here at 3 to 5. 5 to 1 on Mind Control, 8 to 1 on Wicked Trick. 3 Technique is sitting there at 10 to 1. What do you top seed a horse that, ran well against Happy Saver last time out at 12 to 1? There's a price. Ferenc Fire, so good at Belmont Park. Are you going to play him here again?
You don't really have a lot of options, right? This is not a great field, and he is so good at Belmont. He's won 7 out of 10 lifetime starts at Belmont Park, 4 in a row at Belmont Park. He's won 2 in a row overall and beat horses that are better than what he's facing here. He'll just have to not show up for you to beat him. I mean, honestly, if I was going to take a shot, it would be with 3 Technique at 10 to 1. But I don't have any visions of 3 Technique beating Ferenc Fire. I just think he's the best of the rest. I think Ferenc Fire wins this pretty easily.
It's hard to, he wins at Belmont. He's got 10 starts at Belmont. He's got 7 wins, or 10 starts at Belmont, 7 wins. He's just very, very good, especially right now. I mean, he's one of those horses formerly trained by Service that's like, yeah, he was really good no matter what, and he's showing that because he's won. He's won 2 his last 2 starts. Of course, he finished 3rd or 2nd. Prior to that, he's won 3 of his last 5. The other 2 were 3rd and 2nd. I mean, the horse is obviously running very well right now. We were there when we won the True North. He looked really good. He did it like you expected him to do, and it's Belmont Park, and it's hard to imagine he won't. For me, if you aren't interested in playing the 3 to 5, I mentioned the horse. I'm with you. I like the 3 Technique was interesting. I think Top Seed is interesting too. Like I said, has that Happy Saver back class who ran, obviously is running on Saturday in Suburban. Beat 3 Technique in that race. Top Seed ran a huge race that day, a really improved race. Jose Ortiz jumped on him that day, and he's riding on him again here. So to me, if at 12 to 1, I don't think you're going to get 12 to 1, but it will be a price. If you're trying to, pull off an upset, I think he's logical. And you might get a little bit of value there. But for me, I think Ferenc Fire, gate to wire, I don't think it's, especially drawing the rail, like he's going to go. Irad's going to ride him out of the gate, and he's going to be gone. So you're going to have to try to catch Ferenc Fire. I don't think they will. All right. And finally, the Bob Baffert Derby. Everyone's happy we're talking about Bobby.
Oh, yeah. Love it.
To be clear, Halterman did not want to talk about this race. And I said,
no.
Let's just throw it on because it is Bob Baffert, and it is a few horses that everyone knows that might or might not be running later in the year. Who the hell knows at this point, right? Yeah, sure. We'll see. What race is that? Race 4. All right. 3, 2, 1. And finally, let's go to Los Alamitos on Sunday. Race 4, the Los Alamitos Derby, grade 3, worth $150K for 3-year-olds, going to 1 1/8 miles. Field of 5 lined up for this one. 2 of those horses trained by Bob Baffert. That's right. Bob Baffert is training horses still. They're just wherever he can run them, and now he can run them at Los Al. Classier, the big time horse that was not so big time last time out. And then, of course, he's got Defunded, the horse that seems like he's just done everything to lose a race and can't quite break through. But maybe this is finally it. Also in here, you've got It's My House. Sadler's got Back Ring Luck, and Doug O'Neill's got Ingest. But really, Baffert's dominated this race over the years. I think this is he's won 4, I think the last 4 years, I want to say, this race. So Defunded or Classier, where are you going?
Hopefully it's the last one he wins this year. I think, listen, this race is so pathetic. Like this was supposed to be on Saturday. They didn't draw enough horses into it. So they moved it again to Sunday, moved it back a day. They still get 5. It's horrible. I Defunded, like if he doesn't win here, I don't really know what to do with him, right? I mean, he is head and shoulders above anything else in the field. I've never been a big Classier fan. He probably is going to run a little bit better second off the layoff. Defunded needs to win this race. I mean, it's his to lose. So I will take Defunded as I protest that we shouldn't have even talked about this race.
But hey, I did just make you make a pick. So there you go. You're welcome.
That's right.
But no, Defunded, you and I both picked him that day in the Pat Day Mile. I picked him in the Affirmed. He just can't break through. And it seems like he's got to finally do it, right? I mean, he's been right there. It's one of those things. The reason I was like, let's talk about the race, just because, I mean, we don't know what the hell is going to happen with Baffert moving forward, but Defunded in Classier, I mean, Classier had a lot of hopes. I mean, of course, this horse ran in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile off of one start and it was awful. But still, most people know this horse based off that. Big time purchase, Defunded too. So like, these are two horses that you could see a lot in the summer and fall, depending on what happens with Bob Baffert. So I was like, well, let's at least mention it. But yeah, I'm with you. Defunded should win this race. It'll be interesting to see if and when these horses run again.
Hopefully never.
You're welcome. All right. 3, 2, 1. So all the time we have, check us out at racedudes.com for our free picks and our premium selections on our products page. Click the Get Racing Dudes premium button on the menu at racedudes.com to learn more. We are your destination site for all free horse racing picks and for all major racing tracks. Of course, Los Alamitos as well. Halterman's pumped about that. We're on Twitter at Racedudes, Instagram and Facebook. Listen to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, even the website at racedudes.com. Remember, check out that Magic Mike show. They did the Gulfstream Park Saturday late pick 4 preview. So if you want more analysis of that Gulfstream Park Saturday card, go check out the Magic Mike show and all those same platforms as well. We'll have the, which is it, the Haskell Guide, right? The Haskell Guide's coming out in a few weeks.
Yep. Saturday, July 17th is Haskell Day. So yeah, the Haskell Guide will be the next one we do. It's coming up pretty quick. Couple weekends. That's hard to believe. The Haskell's almost here.
And what's amazing about this guide is that we will have bonus races in it, because it also falls with Saratoga's opening weekend. And of course, the guys here aren't going to be like, we got to, if we're at Saratoga and if the Saratoga's running, even though it's Haskell Day, it's like, we have to have Saratoga on the guide, right? That's a no-brainer. So Saratoga will be part of the guide as well. Haskell will be the main focus, but we know we'll have some analysis as well. So big guide coming out in the next couple of weeks. Stay tuned for that. And of course, you get that on the premium products page at racingdudes.com. Any final thoughts, Halterman, to your weekend? You got any big 4th of July plans?
Yeah, I'm sure Papa Dude will have a cookout, so we'll definitely do that. And, quick note on the guides: Haskell, July 17th, Whitney, August 7th, Pacific Classic, August 21st, Travers, August 28th. That's the kind of the summer schedule for the guide. So we'll definitely be pretty busy covering that Saratoga and Del Mar meeting. But big, I'm sure, we'll do something. It's great where he lives. He's kind of up, not really on a hill, but it's kind of up above kind of the rest of the town. And you don't really have to buy fireworks anymore because so many people shoot them off and we see them all, so we don't even buy them anymore. So it's great.
Nice. Well, I don't know what my plans are. I'm sure I'll be doing fireworks at some point. I have to go you don't have kids, so you don't have to go visit the fireworks stand. I do. No. And it's not fun. I think that's like the one thing, even before you're a kid, you're like, before you have kids, if you're like, well, there'll be a day where you're like, yep, it sucks as much as you thought it would just to go spend $100 on garbage, it's hot and you got to shoot them off. And of course, I'm always the one shooting them off. So it's like,
they get sick of doing it.
Yeah. Like you're like thankfully the biggest things they care about are like the ones that like shoot across the pavement or whatever, it's like,
right.
They don't care about the big, like, grenade things or whatever, the mortars. So it's more like, oh, that one lights up and does that. And it's got a parachute. Like, cool. Okay. So just give me all the parachutes, give me all the little dumb stuff on the ground. So No, I'm sure we'll be doing something moving tomorrow. That'll be fun. If anybody in the area wants to be put to work, I'll bring you on. You can come move some of my stuff. So I'll be doing that today and tomorrow. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
And then try to celebrate a little bit on the 4th. But and of course, I'll be watching as much racing as I can, especially tonight. I'll be watching Nick's go. I'm going to stop everything I'm doing to make sure I watch that. So
yeah, it's like you said it best. Must see TV tonight under the lights at Prairie Meadows.
Under the bright lights of Prairie Meadows, where the pressure is high, my friends. It's nothing like it. There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it. And I will say this: if there was ever a weekend, it's always this weekend for me. And the Classics night's fun too at Prairie Meadows. But it's like I get Jethro's and I get to see good racing, then I would go in a heartbeat. We didn't plan this well because I wish we were there. But no, can't wait. And of course, watch this weekend all the big racing in Iowa, Prairie Meadows, of course, as well as Belmont Park and Suburban. We'll see if we have another classic contender on our hands. All right, I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Good luck this weekend. Oh, and happy 4th of July. See you guys.